Hey, what's going on, you guys? So today we'll be discussing the 8-step Google Ads process for engineering construction firms. And one of the first steps that we have to do is develop a core offer, right? And I've talked about this in another video where we go into micro offers and macro offers, but essentially what it's about is crafting compelling offers that will attract and engage your ideal target audience, right? We have to give the prospect that you're looking to target a reason to join your ecosystem. Gone are the days where we could just talk about the services and who we are. We have to talk more about, what is the particular pain point that we're solving for. Once we have identified what that pain point is, then we package it with the offer. So it could come in the form of, some sort of free consultation. It could come in the form of a guide, an audit, an estimation. Whatever the case may be, we want to be able to entice the prospect to coming into our ecosystem so then we can nurture them over the course of time, right? Especially if we're talking about companies that have long sales cycles. The next step that we have here is the campaign ideation process. And this essentially comes down to, once we've identified the offer, what type of services are we really talking about here? So in the case of, a steel detailing company, we could be talking about various things, right? BIM modeling services or whatever the case may be. We want to be able to identify that service and then identify what are some of the keywords that would indicate somebody is looking for the service, right? And if we talked about this in another video, right, the keywords that a prospect uses is the bridge between the prospect and the service that they provide. So when you go online and somebody types in MEP services near me, well, now Google is going to populate not only traditional search results, right, which is the organic search results, but it's going to probably more than likely the case pull up a maps pack. It may show some ads because there is a high intent there that somebody's looking for the services. So we want to think about those sort of things. The keywords that we're going to use is going to influence the type of copywriting we're going to use, which I'm going to cover in the next step. It's going to influence the design of the landing pages, all these sort of things. We may even have to produce certain assets, whether we're talking about images or videos that we want to use to illustrate to the prospect what it is that we're looking to offer them, right? And that goes right into my next step here, right? Which is the ad creation process. So once we've identified what the offer is, the pain point that the offer is solving for, we've identified the key services that we are going to be targeting after, where we're looking to generate interest from, and we've identified the keywords, everything that's associated, the copy, whatever the case may be. Now we can get into articulating that value through the copy that we're writing, right? If we're creating VSLs or any sort of video related assets for, say, display ads or YouTube ads, for instance, well, now we can create the scripts that is going to be needed to draw their attention in, right? If we're developing landing pages, we are already developing the copywriting. We've gone through the process and seen how it articulates the pain points that we're solving for. If we're talking about, demonstrating certain projects that we've done in the past, all these things are accounted for in this process. And then that leads us to the next step right here. So if we are creating video assets, if we are needing to produce any sort of images, whatever the case may be, where we would go in and we would create that for those display ads, YouTube ads. If we're creating a VSL for a landing page, all of that is going to be covered in here, right? Say if you're talking about building codes for, designing a mixed-use building, right? Well, you can talk about that because people love interacting with people. So if they see that, even if they don't watch the video entirely, that would entice somebody to want to do service with you or to, purchase your services. And then we wrap all this together with creating the landing page, right? So whenever you decide to run ads, you never want to drive them to your home page, right? Not even your main website. In certain cases, that may work depending on the intent of the campaign that you're making. But ideally, what we really want to focus on is driving them to one core page where they have minimal distractions, that talks about the core offer that you're trying to provide them, and it has the desired conversion mechanism that you want to put in place. So if we go back to what we're talking about offer development, if we want to talk about them providing a service and them booking a free consultation, well, the landing page should have only that booking a free consultation and then reasons why they should book a free consultation with you, right? Through the problem that you're addressing, as well as other sorts of information they may need to make that decision, whether it's customer testimonials, projects that you've done in the past, your process. These are the things that we want to think about. And we do that all through the prior stages, which leads to the landing page creation. Then the next step that we have here is conversion tracking and CRM syncing. So this is arguably the most important activity of this all. If we're not tracking the activities that are leading to the conversions, well, one, we won't be able to know what's really going on. Two, Google's algorithm is not going to be able to make an assessment about what is working and what is not working. And if we're able to collect data and create feedback loops, because beyond just creating marketing funnels, what we ultimately want is we want to create feedback mechanisms. We want to create feedback loops so the system is always learning. We're able to take data that we're getting from conversion activities that are happening in real time and information that we're able to gather in our databases like a CRM to create a feedback loop to help identify more of the target audience, the ICP, that we're able to gather from the data that we're collecting from various sources, right? So this is going to help you understand where the proper revenue attribution is taking place. And it's going to help us optimize campaigns more effectively, which leads us to setting up the actual campaigns themselves. So all the work that we've done was the hard work. Now we get into actually setting up the campaigns, creating A/B testing, creating segment testing, everything of that nature because of the prior steps, right? Every single thing. So a lot of people like to jump right into just, setting up the ads and then sort of going from there and optimizing from there. But if you don't already have data, if you don't already have a strategy, a plan to begin with, it's going to be hard for you to create and set up effective ad campaigns to begin with. So once we've established all those other steps there, now we get into analysis and refinement. And essentially what we're getting into is reviewing the performance data and refining the keywords, refining the offers, refining the targeting over the course of time. So then we can reduce our costs per lead and eventually get to a point to where we can focus on generating more high quality conversions over the course of time, right? Because the ultimate idea here is that we want sales, but before they become a sales qualified lead, aka an SQL, they must become a marketing qualified lead. So all the steps before, from the moment that we develop an offer, we already had the intent of where that we're trying to go, right? Which is solving a specific problem for a specific client. Everything else kind of falls in a line, but again, we go back to feedback loops. When we get to step 8, which is analysis and refinement, we're creating a feedback loop from all the other steps. And we go in and we tweak each one of these steps based off of the information that we get from the campaigns over the course of time. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and a comment. If you want to join the newsletter, please join the newsletter. There'll be more information where we go over some of these things in more granular detail. So thank you.